Hi, I'm Sarah Stookey. Thank you to the CMS Division leadership for the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. As I record this, the world is several months into the pandemic. I hope you, your families, your communities, and your countries are somehow managing. Even in the relative privilege of academia, some of us are struggling a lot. Our families are affected by illness, our ways of making money, or our careers are derailed. And right now, people are in the streets of cities across my country, the United States, and in countries around the world, forcefully demanding an end to police brutality and the broader scourge of structural and intimate racism. On one level, these are acute crises of an historical moment, but of course they are also just expressions of long-standing injustice and exploitation of people and the planet. Those of us in the Critical Management Studies Division make up a kind of a collective. Loose, often sporadic, and only vaguely significant, we share, I think, some values and goals. For some of us, the comradeship of CMS is the only way association with the larger academy is palatable. Comradeship matters. But beyond the professional and personal insulation and solidarity the division can provide, do we have any value to the larger society? I'm thinking particularly about the word management. 10 years or so ago, some of us in CMS were using the term getting things done, pushing back a bit against the aversion of intellectual work that can be esoteric and sometimes elitist in its priorities. When I say getting things done, I mean accomplishing the pressing tasks of living, raising food, making shoes and films, providing health and education, addressing climate collapse. And doing this, hopefully, with mutual respect and care, inclusively and across identities and borders. This is the useful aspect of that weird thing that we call management, I think. When the scope of the pandemic became clear earlier this year, we all had to pivot quickly. We began to figure out new ways of getting things done. At the time, I was curious about the Academy's response. After all, it is 10,000 people steeped in management, teaching in business schools, hiring out as consultants, filling journals with articles. Surely there would be at least a symbolic effort by the Academy leadership to extend some of that expertise to businesses, organizations, communities, and governments. When an acquaintance asked me for guidance about, quote, leadership in crisis, it made me think that maybe the Academy could put out a call for people to contribute 300-word pieces on practical insights from whatever their area of expertise, create a searchable database the public could access. I didn't have illusions that something like that would be very useful, but I thought it was a necessary gesture for an organization that claims such authority. But for more than a month, the only reference to the pandemic on the Academy website was to the fate of the annual meeting. When I reached out to some CMS colleagues about this, the responses ranged from, I don't see what the Academy could do, to the Academy is irrelevant. One person eventually agreed that if we were the Academy of Archaeology, maybe we wouldn't expect a statement, but for a body that claims expertise in contemporary organization, they said, the silence was indeed deafening. I got caught up in my micro version of getting things done and didn't pursue the idea with the Academy leadership. As of today, 2 months later, the Insights page of the Academy website has links to some articles related to managing in crises. But, as far as I know, there was never a call to the membership, no effort to galvanize a collective response, to substantiate, even symbolically, our claim to relevant managerial expertise. 2 weeks after the wave of racial justice protests hit the streets in the United States, the Academy posted a rather oblique statement about that. Probably I shouldn't be surprised that the Academy has not done more to contribute to get the necessary stuff done. That has never been its mission or practice. What about in CMS? What can we contribute? I applaud the divisional leadership's recent In Touch webinar effort to encourage communication within our academic community. In terms of the larger society, I know many of us are doing what we can locally. If you're like me, doing something local doesn't involve my so-called managerial expertise. I keep informed, I give money, I sign petitions, I deliver Meals on Wheels to the homebound. And in the process, I am impressed by what I've known all along, that the people who best know how to get things done aren't in schools of business. They're not in the Academy. In my town, they're Donna, who organizes the lunch delivery at the senior center. In my country, they're the activists who mobilized the protests in Minneapolis and hundreds of other cities, making sure there are teams ready to pour milk in people's eyes, lawyers nearby, and bail funds. Across the world, they're the mutual aid groups that try to make sure people have food, the flood waters don't engulf the community, and the children are safe. This is how it's always been everywhere. It is the people who face the biggest obstacles who know best how to get things done. In these difficult times, I know each of us will try to do what we can locally. But professionally, as critical management scholars, I would urge us to document and learn from the work of the people who are the real management experts. We know how to do that, to articulate what interests are in play, how power works, how decisions are made, how conflict is managed. We write well. We should share that learning with each other, but more importantly, we should find ways to amplify and promote the work of the people who are at the forefront getting things done. Thanks very much. Be well.